Greetings, digital travelers. I hope I'm finding you safe. Right now we're in the midst of a global pandemic, and I'm seeing all across the world people taking care of each other. And I know that this flies in the face of every disaster movie out there where people are mean and cruel and selfish. I'm seeing a world that's pulling together where people are being kind, where people are supporting each other, where frontline workers are going in and ensuring that our supply chains and medicines and manufacturing are still happening. These are the people, these are the heroes, the grocery store clerks. And what can I say about the medical professionals and the first responders and the police and those people who are out there protecting us and doing what needs to be done to pull together. We as a people, this world, this globe, we're pulled together by strong common threads and love, and I don't believe that we think about that enough. We tend to get focused on the cruel, those of us who are cruel and selfish and greedy, and they're not the majority. They're not the us, and we can't let those people define who we are. So I hope I find you well. I'd like to talk today about something that comes up on role-playing game forums, and that is the difference between system, content, and setting. And this leads to some questions that I think miss the boat a little bit. So my name is Rich Mayo. This is Mach 1 Games. Let's get real about fantasy. So in the intro, I'd suggested I wanted to talk about system, content, and setting. That's because I see over and over a question come up, which is, what system is best for this setting? Or does system matter when I am selecting a role-playing game? My answer is yes, system matters. And my second answer is, don't forget about content. And don't confuse system with content. System is the mechanical way in which the game moderator and the players resolve an action or event in the imagined world with the mechanisms of the real world. Often, that means you roll dice or use resources or whatever. That system defines the interaction between the players, between the participants, to resolve an action in the imagined world. It is also the structures that are in place to synchronize and sequence those actions. So let me be clear and give you an example from Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons has a wonderfully simplistic mechanism for resolving actions. They use this, the D20, and I rolled a 20. I did. That threw me. The D20 is used to resolve an action. I roll the 20, I add my modifiers, and I compare it to a difficulty. Whether I am using a saving throw, whether I'm making an attack roll, whether I'm doing an ability check. That mechanism is foundational and permeates the entire rule system. That is part of its system. The fact that it returns a flat curve where the chances of getting a 14 and a 15 are the same as the chances of getting a 20 and a 1, and special things happen when you get a 20 and special things happen when you get a 1, is part of the nature of the physics that goes into playing any game that's based on that system. The advantage mechanism creates a slope where 20 is the most common result, 19 is the second most common, and 18. And disadvantage, similarly, shifts the ship the other way. One of the features of this system, and I use the word feature rather loosely, is that the roll can be used to decide events that have not been discussed in the game, which means that this is what I'm talking about is the difference between character and player agency, which does create a problem for certain styles of game. And if you're looking to run a certain style of game, the Dungeon Master, I tend to call this person the moderator, she must try to dissuade and keep the dice out of the hands of the players, because the dice, when used too soon in any sequence, brings the sequence to a premature close. The system is not well designed to handle failure. The system does not have shades of success and failure. It doesn't Savage Worlds, Burning Wheel. These systems have ways of talking about levels of success, or can inspect things on failure. The second part of the D&D system is the sequencing of action, and the sequencing of action is broken down into turns that are 6 seconds long. And when you're in an action sequence, and they call it a combat round, and they're right, it's not an action sequence, it is a combat round. It's built for miniature combat. It's not built for chases or other things. When you're in that sequence, every character on the board gets 6 seconds of action, where nobody else, for the most part, can interfere with what they are doing, and they take a series of actions, and then the play passes to another character in the imagined world who does the same things, and it's this staggered paralysis. These are the features of the system. Everything else, classes, races, spells, abilities, and the whole series of exceptions to the core rules, those are content. And I find that this is the problem when people start talking about what system is best for my game, and is that, buddy, my cat's going berserk. Oh, you nut bar. When they ask what system is best for which game, they're not having the conversation about content in the way that they should. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. Again, please stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.